Government hereby declares a nationwide curfew with effect from today, Wednesday, 10th August 2022, commencing at 3 p.m. Government reaffirms its commitment to maintain law and order, including protecting the fundamental rights of the general public. The security sector has been authorized to fully enforce these directives. I thank you.
You just watched the video, right? You saw people were screaming on the street. There's a lot of hunger. There's a lot of there's no money in the country, and of course people will protest. I mean, this is the kind of thing that happened in Nigeria in 2020. How many of you remember the EndSARS protest that happened in Nigeria 2020? I mean, this is how it started, little by little, and it escalates. And now there's a lot of hunger in Sierra Leone. People are protesting in the street. I mean, how can you be paying somebody $200, maybe as a government worker or as a person that works in private sector, and cost of living are rising, the transportation, the fuel, diesel, food, everything's going up, and you are not increasing these people's salary, right? You're not increasing their salary. Everything is just, you're still paying them the normal salary you're paying them, and you ask these people not to protest. Of course they're going to protest. Now they are protesting. You shut down the internet. When you shut down the internet, that means you've closed the country automatically. I thought we said Africa will have this democracy, but I don't see any democracy here. But before we go further, okay, let me read the article of what really happened in Sierra Leone. All right, then after reading the article of what happened in Sierra Leone, then I will tell you a little more about Sierra Leone. But now I just found out today that Sierra Leone is in West Africa. I never knew that Sierra Leone was in West Africa, honestly. I mean, it's good to read and do more research too. So let's go to what happened. What the vice president, I mean, the president have not made any statements yet, but this is the statement from the vice president. Okay. And okay, it said deadly anti-government protests erupt in Sierra Leone. It said they call it anti-government protests. They didn't say the hunger or anything, but they said anti-government protests. Anyway, let's go for it. It says Sierra Leone vice president said there have been fatalities and many clashes between anti-government protesters and police in the capital. Said Sierra Leone, Freetown, Sierra Leone, anti-government protesters in Sierra Leone clashed with police in the street of the capital on Wednesday as tension over the rising cost of living turned deadly in the West African nation. And they said in a national broadcast, Vice President Mohamed Judeh Jallow confirmed fatalities without giving further details. He announced a nationwide curfew from 3 p.m. local time in a bid to stem the violence. You see, they have to make, I mean, curfew, I'm not against the curfew, but in here they didn't talk about shutting down the internet, but currently the internet is shut down in Sierra Leone. But I thought they said that we are living in democracy government in Africa, but I don't see, I think this democracy stuff is not really favoring Africa, because now they deploy soldiers on the street of Sierra Leone. There's a lot of soldiers on the street right now, but this is the short clip we can get online right now. There's a lot of soldiers on the well, I mean, why will you bring soldier? Why do African leaders love to use the soldiers to intimidate its citizens or a citizen? I mean, for me personally, I think, because if you look at most of these presidents, they are old men. So they are still suffering from this slavery mentality of how the white people used to treat them. Because back then, when the black people start protesting, the white people always go to them in a brutal way. I think they are still using that mentality. That's why we need young mind as president in different part of in different countries in Africa, right? So before we go for that, like I said, I never knew Sierra Leone was in West Africa. I just knew today, and it's good to read and make research. Before we go there, let's read a little more about Sierra Leone. Let me tell you a little more about the country Sierra Leone, right? Okay. Yeah, he said Sierra Leone, country in West Africa. Sierra Leone is a country in West Africa on the Atlantic Ocean. It's known for the white sand beaches lining the Freetown Peninsula. The capital city, Freetown, commemorates the nation's slave trade history with the Cotton Tree Landmark and King Yard Gate. So both were known as places of refuge for returned slaves in the 18th and 19th centuries. So nearby Bronze Island was a key departure point during the slave trade. Their current president's name is Julius Maada Bio. The currency they use is Sierra Leone Lone, and the official language is English. And I said the independence, Sierra Leone gained independence on the 27th of May 1961, and the Republican status of the 19th April 1971. Since independence, there have been many changes in the socio-political and economic surface. The outbreak of the war in Sierra Leone caused setback to many areas in the country. And I said, let's look at what Sierra Leone is known for. He said, what are Sierra Leone known for? Sierra Leone has a special significance in the history of transatlantic slave trade. Its capital, Freetown, was founded in 1787 as a home for repatriated former slaves from London and Americans. Sitting on the coastal peninsula, the city overlooks the Sierra Leone harbor, the world's third largest neutral harbor. So that's a little about the country itself. Sierra Leone, there was a lot of slave trade that happened during back then. A lot of people, a lot of families, a lot of children were picked from this country and sent for slave trade. And after the slave trade, I mean, what has really changed is Sierra Leone. We know now they have freedom of speech, they have different things they can brag about, but the citizens itself, are they really happy? It's not just Sierra Leone, it's most of Africa countries. I mean, look at Cameroon. They have their president for 48 years. Is that democracy? Look at Uganda. I think Uganda has their president for 38 years. Look at there are many countries like that. I mean, why are African leaders so greedy? You saw when the vice president was making his speech. I mean, I did not even see any remorse in his voice. He was just talking as if he just came out from a beer parlor. Your people, if your people are protesting for something, it's a protest. It's their human right. It's their right to protest. You cannot just deploy soldiers on the street just like that, just because people came out to protest. Anyway, I hope they find a way to resolve this as soon as possible, and I hope it does not lead to what anybody will not like or what the international body will start. Anyway, I don't even want to talk about the international body because they are the genesis of all these problems. Anyway, if today is your first time seeing me on your screen, my name is the Heartbeat of Nations, and welcome to my YouTube channel. And please consider clicking on the subscribe button. And for my old subscribers, thank you for always coming back to watch my videos. Maybe if there is any more updates on this Sierra Leone issue, maybe I will be able to bring it on my channel again. For now, this is the little details we can get. Like I said, according to what I'm hearing, they said the internet is shut down currently, so I don't think, even if you make videos over there right now, you can't send it out. But my question is, why will it shut down the country internet just this this unharmed protest? Well, this is a harm protest. I haven't seen any violence yet, unless there's some clip of violence we haven't seen. And I hope there will be no violence. I hope it will be peaceful. But if the protest is peaceful, and if they are protesting for the good will for the nation or for the citizens, I think they have the right to do that. But if it's not turning to violence, I hope the government find a chance or a way to be able to bring it down. I mean, Nigerians, let me talk about Nigerians are very tolerant, because right now there's a huge cost of living in Nigeria. Even Ghana, there's a huge cost of living in Ghana, and I think Ghana was protesting last month, but now I think they stopped already, and maybe they're still trying to finding a way to resolve. I heard that they're trying to borrow. The Ghana president or the government is trying to borrow money from the IMF. So as for Nigeria government, that one is another case. Nigeria government, Nigerians are waiting to get a new president or to elect a new president by next year. I think February. I can't remember the date yet. I can't remember the date for now. But February next year, Nigeria will be given another chance to choose another president, and I hope this time they get it right. But for me, I think African leaders are just the same, because it's like the incoming presidents are always worse than the outgoing presidents. You just look at the history of Nigeria, from democracy, from Obasanjo to Yar'Adua. I think Yar'Adua was good, but he died, unfortunately. I think he was only there for 2 years. From Yar'Adua to Goodluck, from Goodluck to Buhari, Shagari, head of state, then Abacha, Babangida, all these presidents, and Nigeria is just still where it is. Like I said, my name is the Heartbeat of Nations, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on my next.